Hi there, it's Keith, and I'm doing this short video to demonstrate some successes and some ongoing issues we're having migrating MSSQL staging base geometry data to the Oracle database. So I'm going to start off, and hopefully this video will be very short. I'm going to try to make this video short. I'm going to give an example by using a particular field. In displaying this right now in MSSQL database server, where the field name is Ronnie Lynn, field ID is 112, and we've got geography data, which is representative of an MSSQL database, and then we convert that to WKT using a function in the geospatial aspect of MSSQL. So we then bring this data using the Oracle SQL Developer. I downloaded a third-party plugin that allows me to go to my MSSQL table into that schema and grab farm field table here and copy it to Oracle. Make sure it's the right schema. We click on OK, and then what happens is it will move that table from MSSQL into Oracle, and the geography data will be saved as a blob, and then the WKT data will be saved as a clob. And so I'm going to pause this until it's done, and I'll get back in a minute. Okay, it took about 23 seconds to complete that task. Okay, and if we go to farm field and we look at the data for that element, we can see that in fact the WKT data came over okay, and that again the MSSQL data came over as a blob. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to alter the table to include a SDO geometry column in the Oracle database. And so we're going to alter farm field right now. We're going to get rid of these ugly display messages, and we're going to run this, and it was altered. And now when we go to look up in our Apex database at farm field, we can see that in fact we've got it here. It shows that SDO geometry. Now there's nothing in there, and so what we do at this point is we're going to run a query to convert the WKT data to SDO geometry data in the Oracle database. And so where's my farm field? And so here you can see we're updating this table. We're setting boundary SDO, and we're setting that to SDO geometry from the WKT column, and we're setting the SRID to 4326, where boundary WKT is not null, but I think actually that's a WTK table. Let me just see it. Yes, just WKT. So I want to make sure that's correct. All right, and so when we run this, hopefully there won't be any errors. It immediately updates all of the rows. And if we take a look at that same field here, oops, oh yeah, it helps if we actually put the right names in. And then WKT, field name from farm field, where ID is 112. And when we run this, you can see that the boundary SDO has been converted, and it does have data into it. It's no longer null. Now, when I start to validate the transfer, the first thing I do is in SQL Developer, Oracle SQL Developer, I go to Map View, and let me get rid of this. This is an old one. I create a map view. Let's call it test farm field, and we're going to build the query here for that specific field, and let's see what we get. And what I've gotten in the past is an error. It says invalid null value is found, and so not sure why I'm getting this message, because I made sure that the data that was coming over in WKT was not null. However, when we go to look at another table that we did the same method for, add zip codes, and you can see that it's got an SDO geometry GIS underscore point. When we take a look at this geometry in the map view, so we're conditioning the select query of that SDO geometry enabled column in zip codes to only display 06250 point. And we click on OK here, and you can see that it works here. Now I can't get it to display here. Oh, here it is. So it does display. There's no map obviously showing, but it is working. Okay, and these are geospatial points. So I've also set up Oracle Spatial Studio. You can see we've got our stack built here. We drill into it. We go into the application information. It exists here. We click on it. We go to Oracle Spatial Studio. I've already set one up, so I'm going to go right to that, where we've set up a project. And when you look at the farm field information and you drill down on that, you've got a boundary here, right? And it identifies that. But when I try to bring it over, it says unable to add data set, no geometries, even though we saw that geometries were converted. If we go to farm field and we go to properties and we do a validation test, so we go to spatial validation and we run these validations, this is what happens. We get an error code 13028 on all of the farm field geometries, and not sure why that's happening, but when we look at the zip codes properties and we go to spatial validation, the validation does pass, but it does say that there were some errors. It does pass, and again, these are points. The farm field is polygons, and I can drag over the GIS points and zip codes, bring them to the map, and it will populate the map with all of the zip codes, which is nice. So in using, I'm just learning the Oracle Spatial features, and I'm just wondering, as I look at this and I do the analysis on why this is happening, I'm wondering, is it the conversion queries that I'm using? So for add zip codes, and these are points, we're setting a point to SDO geometry from the WKT that we built in SQL Server, and we're setting the SRID. And when you look at farm field, we're doing the same thing, but we're using this function. Am I not using the right function? I'm hoping you can help me with this, and I would really appreciate it, some feedback. And one thing I would like to point out is that when we go back to MSSQL Server database, our staging database, we execute this query on that farm field, we are actually able to view the geospatial data in MSSQL. So it's viewable here using the geography column, but we are not able to convert from the WKT to SDO_geometry and view it with Oracle. So I'm hoping you could help us out with that, and I appreciate anything you'd be able to add. Thank you.